I think that a lot of us that come from the streets, that come from these inner city communities, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of us are smart. We're not dumb kids.
Yeah.
It's just that we gravitate towards something in our environment that pulls us over here than over here. So I say that to say, when I went to prison at the age of 20, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a GED. I left school
Mm-hmm.
in ninth grade, going in 10th grade, and I ain't never go back. But I knew I
Mm-hmm.
was smart when I was in school, I bust school out. I used to bust
Yeah,
A's
yeah.
out. I used to, everybody told me I was smart.
Wow.
So it ain't about being smarter than anybody. It's about
Mm-hmm.
knowing our worth. And a lot of us that's in those streets, our worth is really genuine. It's gold. Our
Yeah,
worth,
yeah.
because we are smart. If you
Absolutely.
and so that's appreciated too, what you spoke about. If
Mm-hmm.
I could, real quick before we move forward, can
Yeah.
we can you expound on just that first time that you had to do all that time after you got
Mm-hmm.
sentenced, going up north or wherever it is that you go in Philly, because I've never been in Philly prisons, you know,
Greatersburg.
and yeah, Mr. Anthony, my partner's been there as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've been there.
So
Yeah, yeah.
so I never been in there, so I can't speak about that experience. But if you could just shed a little light on
Yeah,
and
yeah.
as bad as New York State, because what's your worst thing you seen, like when you was in there, in terms
So
of violence, was it, and how was that
no
going on?
doubt. Yeah, yeah. So coming, before the sentence, and of course, you're dealing with, the county jail. I'm on State Road, House of Correction. So we juveniles. But of course, once you go upstate, now it's like you're around a bunch of adults. You dig what I'm saying? You're not around kids and stuff like that. So, of course, I mean, you had to go at it with the mindset of, look, I don't know what to expect. You hear all these different stories and things like that. So, of course, you go upstate. First place you got to go is Greatesford. So now, when I went through Greatesford, being so I was only 16, they had to put me in the hole. I had to go straight to the hole,
Mhm.
right? Because I was not yet classified at that.
Okay.
So I was straight in the hole. But then from there, I was in the hole for because I was actually just in a riot down the county. So they actually left me up the hole for I think it was 30 days or 60 days, right? So then they wound up transferring me to Camp Hill. So then once I went to Camp Hill was like a classification job.
Okay.
So there they classified you, you took all these different tests and computerized things just to see where they was going to place you at and which prison you'll go to. So then just so happened I did that. That I wind up going. So now in the midst of these things, like when I went to Greaterford, I seen how things were operated, like people that had power. There were some people that was in the hole, you know what I'm saying? Like I've seen people, get people touched, from even in the hole, like literally got their cells cracked and everything to air people out. And it was mind bounding to me because I was thinking like that, how people got power like that just from being in the hole. But me knowing and understanding that, when you got time in, there's certain things that, they can allow to happen. So long story short, so I get up there, go to Camp Hill, went left there, went to Pine Grove. It was a lot of rumblings and things like that. But me, I always had the mindset look, if you stay out of stuff, you know what I'm saying, mind your own business. Because plus I was neutral. I didn't belong to no gang. I
Right.
didn't, you know what I'm saying, call no, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't call myself to be no tough guy, nothing like that.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? That's just so I stayed in my lane. You know what I mean? So I was just more focused, okay, so some old heads told me what they told me. Because I was big for my age. And I asked one old head, I said, they still got boxing here? Like we still box? He said, nah, man, you supposed to be on the street boxing. The hell you doing in here? Like he was schooling me though. He was telling me, he's
Yeah.
like, man, you wasting your life in
Absolutely.
here. You supposed to be out there doing that. And I was like, dang. I was like, okay. And I said I had to take that and run with it. So that's why. So when they encouraged me to constantly get educated and things like that, that's what I started doing. So when I went up there, I started applying for different like schooling and things like that. And next thing you know, I started getting into the classes and stuff. And it was a great thing. I had got my diploma while I was down in the county, so it really gave me that head start. So through that, of course, like I said, it was a lot of things that was going on around me. People getting stabbed up. You know, you've seen a lot of gang activity. You know what I mean? You've seen a lot of stuff. But I tried to stay away. I stayed away from it. You know what I'm saying? Thank God I left a lot of the drama and stuff down in the county, and I didn't have to worry about none of that stuff when I got upstate, because it was like, nah, this is a different atmosphere. Okay. You got full-blown machete knives and people throwing around and stuff. Not saying that I was scared, but at the same time, it's more so like, look, this ain't no joke. You got to take this thing serious and get up out of here. So that's what I did. So I chilled and started, taking different courses. Then I got transferred to different jails as well. Even went on the out-of-state transfer to Virginia when there was an overcrowd in PA. So of course, went down there, was doing the same thing. I was playing a lot of ball. I was in the weight pile. There's a lot of things that I was doing, to occupy my time. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So so my main focus was like, okay, the streets is coming, so you got to prepare yourself.
Yeah. I like to also, say like that at that time, those are traumatic events that we go through, whether we in some stuff or not, because when you talk, you sound like myself. I never been a part of no gangs. You know what I mean? When I was in prison for 27 years and 6 months. However, I never took no stuff either. You know what I mean? I was that type that I didn't like a bully. I didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't like to see others get bullied. And if it happened around me, a lot of times, I did my business, but there was some times when, you start to be like, come on, man, like enough is enough, bro. Like this ain't how we live. And that was through my growth and development process. But
real quick, because he touched on something, and I think we talk about this all the time, right? And this is where people miss the picture at, and this is why the recidivism rate is so high, and brothers and sisters keep going in and out, right? So if you notice, like for me, I was the late bloomer. I didn't, I always, every bid I did, I took a little piece of information with me. It wasn't until the last bid that I decided to dedicate all my time into education and opening my mind to taking that same negative energy I put into the street to doing something positive when I came home. And that's the key right there, is that reentry. We talked about this all the time. When does reentry start? The system is so backwards and so effed up that they want to do reentry 6 months, 3 months, 6 weeks before you come home, right? So the whole time, brothers is in there, they looking at the time. I got to do 5, I got to do 10, 15 years. I don't care, right? I'm going to go wild out. I'm going to make a name for myself. I'm going to be a knucklehead. I'm going to do all this dumb stuff, right? And then they want to wait when the reality is set, and they like, oh, shit, I go to the board in like 9 months. And then you look back and reflect like, yo, what have I done in the last 5, 6 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? I've done nothing. All I got is 9-point infractions for cutting, stabbing, and stuff like that. And so to take a young juvenile at that situation, right? Because the first time I went, to jail, I was a juvenile myself. Right? And it was all fun and games for me. It was all wild out, get a name for yourself and do all this. And every time I did a bid, that's what it was about, right? Stay reputation, stay this, that, and the third. But when I hung around the older guys, the OGs, and they will always tell me, man, yo, you smart, bro. You got some talent, like the way you carry yourself, the way you articulate yourself. And I never wanted to hear that because it didn't benefit me, I thought. Right? I wanted to get accolades to the guys that was like, yo, you're a crazy motherfucker. Yo, bro, your shit go off, right? Because that's what we used to. So it wasn't until that I literally sat down with myself and my thoughts and said, you know what? Like, what's going to change? If nothing changed, nothing's going to change. And this is when I decided to get educated, take those money management classes, take all those classes over and over again till they became repetition, and I changed my ways of thinking. And that's what it boils down to, right? If we don't change our ways of thinking, how can we change our action, right?
Absolutely.
What is going to change? We have all these big dreams, and we want to impress this one and that one while we in there and say we're going to do this and do that. And then we come home, and within 30 days that everything we talked about in prison doesn't come to fruition, right? We go right back to what we know because we feel like we're a failure.
Yeah.
And with any good thing, and with anybody that knows success, right? And success comes in many forms and stuff. Success, I tell people, can come in the form of just not going back to jail. It's not like, you understand what I mean? Like if you did 10 years and you haven't been in jail in 20 years, that's success. People think success comes in the form of monetary value in your bank account, how many houses or cars and stuff that you have. Yes, that's great. That's beautiful. Those are the things in life that we should all enjoy and want. But at what cost and with what integrity, right? So when you get it, you can appreciate it and value it. And that's where, I love that you hit that part there, my brother, that, you said you educated yourself. You took heed to what people were saying, and you didn't get caught in the masses. For a guy that was so young to be a big guy, right, you would think that you would be a bully. You're going to go up in there, you're going to be, I'm in here for a body and a robbery. I was running the streets, and Billy, I'm going to stay with that. But you changed your life around. I just wanted to expound on that because that's the part that people miss all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? And I just want you to just talk about that release date.